Okay, you guys can hear me?
Yes.
All right, I'm Jordan. Thank you. I'm with Satori. And thank you to the organizers for accommodating me. So I'm going to tell you about a little bit about Satori, a brief overview, a short demo, and then we can just ask questions. So I'll keep it kind of brief. But I'm Jordan. Introduced myself to a QR code. And let me tell you a little bit about myself. So when I was in high school, my grandpa pulled me aside and he said, I have some advice. When you go to college, don't take classes that, don't try to get a great degree that gives you a bunch of money. Don't try to get easy A's and just take it easy. He says, study whatever interests you most. And I took that to heart, and I did. I studied whatever interested me most, and it turned out to be intelligence itself. I was really interested in how does the brain generate intelligence? What is it as such? Not necessarily what is it as we generate it in AI and how we're trying to approximate it, but what actually is the goal of intelligence? What are we trying to get? So I studied the brain and computer science and a lot of weird stuff. But eventually, I came down to the realization that in AI, we're not exactly doing what the brain does. And there's a lot of differences, but the main difference that I saw was that we do spatial pattern recognition, static state spaces, pattern recognition in AI. We don't really do spatial temporal recognition like our brains do. That was like the main difference that I saw. Our brains do spatial temporal. They put temporal down there at the bottom. Everything it does is about making predictions about the future. The future. Temp time is fundamental in our version of intelligence, but it's not fundamental in other, computerized versions of intelligence. So I decided to build Satori, and Satori is a network that has the mission of making free and open prediction for everybody. Free and open knowledge of the future. It's a decentralized AI project. It's blockchain and artificial intelligence, of course. And it's permissionless, uncensorable. And the other thing about it is it's a flat network. Like, Bitcoin's kind of a flat network. Every miner is a miner. But you don't really see that with AI and models and stuff. If you're going to train a model on a network, what you're going to do is you're going to send out a bunch of jobs for all the different workers, and then they're going to do the training. You're going to bring that training back into some central repository. So you have kind of a master-slave organization there. But in Satori, we don't. So we actually do the training in a decentralized, distributed manner as well. It's flat. And the way we do that, So let me go through this, and then I'll get to the way we do that. This is a diagram that kind of depicts that every node on the network listens to some aspect of the real world. Actually several, but it listens to something that's happening in the real world. It could be a price, or the weather, or some aspect of the real world. It starts to learn how that thing evolves. So it's learning the spatial temporal patterns, and it's learning to predict the future. It then broadcasts that message out to all the other nodes so that they can take that and use it in their estimation of something else, their training of something else, and everything's local. So they're not all tweaking weights and then sharing the weights with each other. They're sharing the predictions of the future with each other. And they don't broadcast those weights up to some central repository. They just share the predictions with each other. That gives them all the context of each other. It allows them to leverage what the other neurons are doing. So, well, that's the basic structure of the network. And I think the core kind of innovation here is to say, well, if we wanted to build something like ChatGPT that was excellent at predicting the future, you know, because it's not, it just guesses like anybody else. So if we wanted to build that, how would we do it? And, well, you might take the approach that you build ChatGPT or any of these language models with in the first place, which is you gather a bunch of data, and that takes a lot of time. You then curate that data into the structure you want, take out the hate speech, you know, that takes time. And then you train them all. And that also takes time. So after 2 years, 6 months, whatever, you finally have a model of the data. And that works great with spatial pattern recognition. Information that doesn't change. I mean, our language changes, but it doesn't change every 3 months. If it did, you couldn't use this model to then have, to train one that is useful. By the time you train it, it would be out of date. So if you want to start treating time as fundamental and predicting that, you have to use a network. You have to build small models that can quickly update and rebuild themselves. Because information is going to happen in the world. New stuff is going to happen that's not expected. This is surprise, this is information. And then we're going to have to quickly update. We can't spend another 6 months curating data and training to get a new model that's predictive for 3 months. So we have to use small models. And because we have to use small models, we need them to start talking to each other so that when something happens in the real world, that information can get ingested by whatever's watching it, and that information can then be broadcast through the network and update all the tiny models. They can say, oh, I didn't expect that. Well, then that changes how I think this will evolve. So you have to use a network. Okay, of prediction. They don't have to share weights with each other. They can actually share the actual predictions. And the brain does this. This is how the brain works. So we have different regions of our brain, cortical regions. You might have regions that are specific to audio. They listen to the ears. Most of the data they get is from the ears. Others specific to visual. So what they do is they broadcast information about the future. They broadcast the future prediction of whatever they're listening to the other regions. And that gives the other regions a global future context in which to coordinate behavior and make predictions of their own. So that's what we're trying to do. So it seems to me like prediction of the future is the fundamental base layer of our human intelligence. And we're not trying to build an entire human brain or something on the world, but we are trying to instantiate that bottom layer of a world model that's predictive. Okay, so a demo. So I have a little video here, which I'm glad I have because my computer wasn't connecting. So we can use this as the demo. Oops, sorry, I was wrong. Let's do it. I'll just skip through it. We won't watch the video. We'll just skip through and kind of see. So this is the view of a Satori node. You download the software, and this is the view. So let's see. You get a dashboard. You can kind of see what's going on. Let's stop it right here. Okay, that's good. So you can see right here a list of data streams that this neuron, this node, is predicting. It's predicting what? I don't know, a bunch of crypto prices, it looks like, for this one. And if you hover over them and you click on them, you can see the graph of predictions and the graph of actual data that's up above. That's, okay, well, I think we're good. Uh-oh, I might get some help. Sorry. Oh, that. Okay, let's go to this. Okay, well, here's a graph of, from our website. You can go to the website, anybody can go, remember it's free and open predictions, so anybody can go to the website and start looking up data streams that are being predicted. And this one has, I don't remember what it is. Yeah, it's the price of something. And you can see the predictions, and then you can see the actual price. We have not done any, we've been so busy, we haven't done any metrics to see how well the network is predicting. The only information I have about that is some people some people interested in the project are actually using the data to make trades. So, I don't know what that means, but it does seem like you can see this big upswing right there on the 20th. It seems like that was predictive of a real upswing that was going to happen. So, okay. This is about the MOR staking. So we have rewards for the MOR stakers. We're producing a real-time API right now. So you can go to the website, you can search stuff, you can kind of get what's current, but you don't really get stuff pushed to you. So we're building an API for that. And if you stake, then that's the kind of reward you get. You get access to this real-time API. If you want to see what the network is predicting right away, and get notified of changes or surprise or updates, then you can use this. Also, we're building a chat application. So like I said earlier, if you wanted to build ChatGPT for the future, you would have to have some kind of network underlying it that gives it predictions about the future in real time. So we're building another layer on top of that that says, I'm going to mine that information and translate it to English and tell it, answer people's questions about the future. Okay, that's pretty much all I had. Do we have any questions?
Yes.
I'll get you the mic here.
Oh, no, it's all good. It's up.
Hello, everybody. You go, brother.
Probably should not be recorded, but fine. Okay, so, I have no questions.
Great.
Okay, so I guess this is the VP question. I'll lean with the right curve rather than the left curve. So if you're doing this predictive analysis through real-time API, what's the temporal deviations to go forward?
Temporal deviation?
Yeah, like you're saying that, hey, I have this price prediction or whatever that's going to tell me this is going to go, move along this pathway, right? So how far forward in terms of temporality are you really looking to say, oh yeah, this thing's going to move at this thing?
Great question. So we started out with the simplest possible answer to that. Data streams happen at different cadences typically. So, you might say, I want to predict the gold price. Well, that really means you're predicting multiple data streams. I'm predicting it in 10 minutes, an hour, 4 hours, a day or a month. So you're going to get the prediction of the next moment in time, whatever data stream that is. And so you can then combine them to kind of get a view of the future.
Okay, dumb that down.
So let's say I'm a neuron that's predicting gold.
Sure.
And there's 3 data streams available for gold. There's a 4-hour chart, and a daily chart, and maybe like 10 minutes or something. So I'm predicting each one of those separately, and probably multiple nodes are. So you can then query the network to say, what are the predictions for the next 10 minutes? What are the predictions for the next 4 hours? And what are the predictions for the next day? And then you can graph that out, or you can do whatever you want with that. But that was the simplest approach. It's just taking the next moment prediction for all data streams. That can change in the future. We might do forecasting over time, but that's where we're at right now.
Yeah, it seems like a quiver quantitative kind of approach towards things would be much smarter, right? Like it has direct value. I mean, it's all those hanging fruit. My other question is like, what kind of custom APIs can be built? I mean, this is a non-BG part, but like, I used to write code, then I stopped writing code, now I started writing code again. I built a dark web scraper for the price of heroin. I'm wondering, like, can you basically do that for an API?
You can put any data stream on it.
Okay, so if you can build a data stream on the network, then I guess my next question would be, can you like cross-reference by something like the prices of a certain asset, and then have an API request that says this is a custom API request, and then look at like correlation between these two things, and have the network variables, and then forecast that to see if there's any causation.
Yeah, well, we haven't built all that, but that is part of the real-time API. That's what we're building.
Cool, thank you.
Always keeping it spicy. All right, we got any other questions? I see we have one over here on the right-hand side. Mr. James.
Hi, James Hatt, founder of Decentralized Assets. But you're gonna have, you're gonna collect a lot of data. The most interesting data you're gonna collect actually is the searches themselves, not the data, right? So you could kind of get a Google-like intelligence in knowing what people are searching. And I think it might be interesting to turn this around when you launch it as a marketplace of information, where I can see other searches that have happened and click on them and wander around, right? And then maybe you can even compensate people for having created the queries that other people rely on, right? So it seems like it'd be really interesting community and thought site on top of the tech.
Yes, totally agree.
Great. Any other questions? Go once, go twice. Let's get a hand for Satori. Question is, what's the website?
SatoriNet.io.
SatoriNet.io. Awesome.
Every page on your station should have like a word.
And you can also find them on MOR.org. They have one of these subnets listed, Satori's up there as well. So awesome. Thanks for coming.
What's the staking benefit for staking?
What's the staking benefit is the question.
That is the real-time API access. So that'll be paid, but for stakers, it'll be subscriptions.
Basically just having the stake, having the wallet as a staker will be the key to get it.
So stake more, get access to the API. Very cool. Sounds good. Thank you. All right, Willie, let's get you up here.
Here, I'm going to tell you about what Satori is. Satori is a blockchain that predicts the future. It watches the world and predicts how it will evolve. Those predictions are free and open for everyone. They cannot be censored. That's why it uses blockchain. Satori has a machine learning engine. It's automated and learns how to forecast the future. That's how the predictions are made, through the use of AI. Satori lives at the intersection of blockchain technology and artificial intelligence. It is a blockchain that predicts the future. Now, next let's discuss how Satori works. Satori is a network of computers, each of which is a Satori node. When a Satori node starts up, the network assigns it something to watch, something to predict, something to become an expert at. The Satori node then subscribes and watches that piece of information, whether it be a government statistic, stock price, climate metric, or something else. As it watches the data, it learns how this thing, whatever it is, reacts to all other changes in the world. It finds correlations, detects patterns, and in general makes better and better models of what the future will be. The Satori node never sleeps. It runs all the time, broadcasting its best estimate for what the future holds. It even works with other Satori nodes to discover things it couldn't on its own. Over time, it becomes an expert on the topics it was assigned. And it never stops learning. That's the key to how Satori works. Every Satori node watches some real-world data, specializes in understanding it, and works all day, every day to make the best predictions it can. All right now, just how will Satori be developed? Well, that's what we're going to talk about next. Satori's development has 3 planned phases. 1. Produce the public good. 2. Build the prediction market platform. 3. Make it a DAO, distributed autonomous organization. The first phase, the public good, is Satori's primary objective, free and open knowledge of the future. This phase begins with initial conception, research and design, and completes once the network is of a sufficient size to watch and predict the future of all popular, commonly valuable world metrics. In other words, Satori provides the public service, first and foremost, of predicting everything that everyone finds valuable. It does not charge for this service. Anyone in the world can visit the Satori search engine and see what Satori believes the future of any public metric will be. After the network has scaled enough to produce an adequate public good on an ongoing basis, it will be ready to implement Phase 2. Phase 2, the prediction market platform, allows anyone to get specific, highly informed, unbiased predictions from the Satori network. The Satori prediction market, running on the Satori blockchain, is a platform that will bring consumers and producers of prediction together. Anyone will be able to leverage the wisdom of the Satori network. For example, companies will be able to anonymize their data and contract with the Satori network to get unbiased predictions of future changes in their data. Even individuals will be able to, say, ask the Satori network to track their biometric data captured by their smartwatch and give them real-time warnings or help them progress towards their goal. Phase 2 represents the second layer of Satori, making all the specialized models and computerized expertise that has been developed in service to the Satori public good available to the world. Once the Satori prediction market is completed, allowing consumers of prediction to contract with Satori nodes, Satori will enter the third and final phase of its development, becoming a fully decentralized, distributed autonomous organization. Satori will initially launch, as so many blockchain projects do, as a pseudo-decentralized system, one that starts with centralizing training wheels and has the ability to evolve into a DAO eventually. This is because building a pure DAO is often a very hard problem. Without a centralized authority, they are prone to misaligned incentive structures and numerous attack vectors. Fortunately, many challenges decentralized systems face can be mitigated by scale and may be altogether solved with future communication technology. During Phase 1 and 2, some of these training wheels will be removed. The goal of Phase 3 is to remove any and all remaining centralized force or authority, because it is important for prediction to be as unbiased as possible. Prediction of the future, like news of the past, should be decentralized and uncensorable. Any manipulation of predictions of the future represents some special interest's control over that future. Once Satori achieves the status of fully decentralized, distributed autonomous organization, it will not just be a DAO. Since it uses AI technology, watches and predicts, and therefore affects the world and manages its own attention, Satori will most likely be the world's first distributed autonomous machine intelligence also. Finally, if you'd like to get involved or in some way participate, well, I'm going to tell you just how to do that. If you want to see the predictions that Satori produces, you can visit satorinet.io and use the Satori search engine. If you want to run a Satori node on your machine, just follow the install instructions at satorinet.io. The Satori node is fully automated and is easy to set up. It will mine Satori tokens as it makes valuable predictions, so try to keep it running as much as you can. Remember, all of the expertise it develops, all of the models it creates are yours and will stay on your machine. On the other hand, if you just want to learn more, you can visit satorinet.io, where you can find the white paper and source code and links to Satori's social media and chat platforms. Thank you for your attention. Namaste.